Are you ready to finish those pajama pants or pajama shorts? Because in this video you will do just that. We are now looking at steps 13 through 18 to complete the project. And so step 13 is to cut a piece of elastic. And I've already cut yours for you, but you are going to need to check my work. What I did was I took your waist measurement, and to that I added 1 inch. That is a general rule of thumb for how much elastic you will need to put in elastic shorts or pants. Um, but sometimes I find that that's not tight enough for my liking. So I'll I'll show you how you can leave that open to adjust that and then close that up when you finally found the right adjustment for your elastic. Hopefully, though, I gave everybody enough elastic, and you don't want your shorts too tight around your waist or wherever you're wearing them. You know, if you like to wear things a little lower than your natural waist, which is kind of where the style is right now, well, then you might want a little extra elastic, but know that these are just shorts, pajama shorts. So there is an elastic shortage, and had I not scored 4 rolls the last day I was shopping at a fabric store, we would have had to make drawstring shorts because I couldn't find it many places. So anyway, I am using a sample, a small piece of leftover elastic. I don't need to use one big enough to go around my waist, so I just brought a little piece out to demonstrate this step. But it is important in this step that when you overlap, as the directions say, 1 inch. So really that's going to be is that your elastic is going to be 1 inch smaller than your waist measurement. When you overlap, that you have a complete ring and that you don't have a twist in the elastic. That is not going to be comfortable around your waist. And I'm telling you, it's happened to me and it's happened to many students. It's a lot harder to see when you have a long piece of elastic. So really check and make sure that when you overlap that elastic, that you're only overlapping without a kink in it, with it in a circle. You might want to lay it down on your table and check to make sure it's a circle, because it's going to be a lot bigger than this. This might fit around the circle of some of your smaller dogs, but waist, it's not going to fit any person's waist. So I'm just going to tuck that under the machine. It will be a lot easier because yours is longer. If you want, if you need to, you can put a pin along one side where I pinned. Okay, then along the other side, I want my threads going straight out the back. I'm going to lower the presser foot onto my elastic, and then I'm going to sew to the other side of my elastic, and then I'm going to back stitch. Now on most of your machines, there will be a lever marked with this symbol, the hook, that goes backwards. And I think like on the Genomes, it's over here. And that's going to make your machine sew backwards. And then when you let off the lever, it's going to sew forwards. So I'm going to do that a couple of times with my my piece here. Putting my needle down into the fabric. Okay. So across to the other side. You either received a piece of 1 inch elastic or a piece of 3/4 inch. The pattern called for 1 inch. Now I press the backstitch button. I'm sewing backwards. If I'm good, I'm really sewing right on top of my first stitches, and I'm going to come forwards again. That's 3 times. I think I'll just go back and forward one more. You don't want this to come undone. Okay. I'm going to cut my thread, cut off my excess. Take the pin out, and I should have a complete ring of elastic with no kinks in it, which is what I have this way. Okay. All right. So I've already done that to the elastic in for my shorts, and I have it right here. And again, I've checked, and there's no twists in it. Okay, we're going on. We've done 14. We've overlapped the elastic and stitched it together. Now we're going to go to the iron, and I'm going to move my camera closer so that you see this. This is a very important step. Maybe I can move my iron closer to the camera. Okay. All right, that should work. Okay, I'm going to bring the waist to the top of my shorts over the edge of the ironing board. Now, I've already done this just to make it faster to show you. But first thing I did was I did an overcast stitch again all around the top of my shorts. And then I did an overcast stitch around each of the legs. So why don't you could pause the video and do that now. You want an overcast stitch around the top of the waist and around each leg. And then when you're ready to move on, you take that edge of the waist that has been overcast and you fold it over and you're going to go around. You've matched wrong sides together now, and you're going to, if you have a seam gauge, that's beautiful. I set it at 1 1/4 inches, and I'm going to go around these shorts and press that over 1 1/4 inches, giving it a good steam press there. If you don't have a seam gauge at home, you can use a real ruler. It's just going to be, it's not really harder, just, okay? And I'm going to move that around, and I'm going to press all the way around my waist of my shorts, 1 1/4 inch, okay? I think I need a crisper crease. The crisper your crease in this step, it's kind of nice. It'll just make your elastic easier. Now, if you want to, you can do the legs of your pants now. I've already done mine, but what you do this time is you fold over 1 inch and press. So at the waist, you want to go 1 1/4 inch. At the bottom of the legs, you're going to go 1 inch. Folding it over, measuring as you go so that your legs of your pants are even and straight. Now, I might suggest that you try on those shorts first, or those pants first, and make sure that that's where you want the hem to be. Like, some of you are going to need to cut some of the legs off of your pants. They're going to be too long. Some of you might want to make a shorter short than what the pattern has created, or a long, you can't do anything about it now for a longer short, except I guess you could only fold this up a 1/2 inch, but really 1 inch is nice. It's going to lay flat and not want to roll up on you as you wear it. So again, you're pressing in over 1 1/4 inch here at the waist and pressing up 1 inch at the hem. So I have that 1 1/4 inch casing is what we would call it. at the top. And this shorts is done differently than I've normally done shorts, but I decided that due to distance learning, I would follow their directions because although I like my way better, this is easier and it's going to be easier for you at home without all the tools that I have here. So I have, again, I'm making sure that my waistband does not have any kinks in it, okay? I'm going to slide it over the top of my waistband. And I want to, in the back of my shorts, remember the back is the bigger side. I can tell that this is my back. I'm going to put this seam of elastic. I cut off the excess, by the way, on both sides of my seam. It's going to make it feel nicer against your skin and not be so bulky. So I am going to tuck this up, right up to my crease that I made on the iron, and then I am going to fold this over. And if I have measured correctly, I should have a 1/4 inch, which I'm going to sew at the machine, because when I sew this last 1/4 inch at the waistband, I don't want to catch the elastic. I want the elastic to be free flowing around my shorts. So this time, I want to leave a piece open here in the back where I can make that adjustment I was telling you about if you want your elastic tighter. So I'm going to pin parallel this time. I usually don't do that, but I'm going to pin parallel. Can you see that red pin head there? Or I guess it's white. No, you can't see that one. Let me get a colored one. Again, I press that elastic all the way into that seam, and then you can't see it, but I have a 1/4 inch that I can feel here. Get a blue pin this time, and I'm going to pin parallel. Okay, I'm going to keep working my way around. Now, my method of cutting the elastic 1 inch larger than your waist is going to tend to be bigger, too big rather than too small, but it makes this step easier. Keep going. My waist is really larger than this pattern called for, so yours is probably going to want to, it may want to gather up like this, you know, like a waistband would normally. And if that's the case, you're just gonna have to make sure that you've never caught the elastic and that the elastic is smooth in that area while you sew it. It can gather up later. We'll see what mine, I'm not close to being around mine yet, so we'll see what it turns out like. Now, if for some reason you didn't press that full 1/4 inch, 1 inch and a 1/4, then just pull it down a little bit. You want to have that, you've got to have that 1/4 inch excess past your elastic. Those of you that have 3/4 inch elastic, you're not going to have any trouble at all. Why wide elastic and not thin? Because at the waist, the wide elastic feels better. Thin elastic would just cut into your waist. And what wide elastic wants to do is it wants to lay flat on your waist and be more comfortable. Plus, it gives more support. Your shorts aren't going to fall off. Thin elastic may not give enough support to hold those shorts up. Now, look what's happening here. I have more fabric than I have elastic. That's definitely going to happen to you. So I'm just going to keep pinning until I have to deal with it. I want to keep this flat. I'm at a seam. I want to match my seam up with my seam here. That matches. I'm going to pin it. Again, I'm not pinning through the elastic. I don't want to sew through the elastic. Now I'm getting to the point where, see, I'm going to have to pull some as I sew so that that is flat. So I'm just going to have to do that as I pin. I'm going to have to pull just a little bit because I want this waistband flat. I want the flap over the shorts flat to the outside body of the shorts. So I might want to gather it up in between, pull this, some of my, give my pull towards there a little bit and flatten that out so I can pin it flat, sew it flat. I just gave a pull towards my unfinished edge and created the gather up here where I've already pinned. That's what I did. I'm right here to the left. I'm gonna leave that open a little bit. I am not going to sew between, I'm going to pin perpendicular now. I'm not going to sew between my perpendicular pins. Okay. All right. I'm ready to go to the machine. I want my machine set on a straight stitch, not on the overcast stitch. I have, for these next few steps, I have taken this piece off of my machine. You never want to buy a machine that doesn't make a removable one. This part is called the bed of the machine. The bigger the bed, my other machine has a much bigger bed because you need a larger work area when you're working on quilts, or sometimes even for garments. It's nice to have a larger bed here. So this is kind of an average size bed, but I was a little disappointed when I bought those Genomes and saw how small that bed is. It's really short. So anyway, do your best. But I'm going to take this storage unit, or whatever they call this part, off gently. It's plastic. You don't want to break it. And now what I'm left is what they call the arm of the machine. And because the arm is narrower than what the bed was, I can lay space here. I can lay my shorts over the arm, but have the underneath part of the shorts that I'm not sewing under the arm. Okay, now I wish you could see this, but I just don't have a cameraman. I'm going to lower the foot. Where did my perpendicular pin go? There it is. Wow. I was way off course. Okay. Now, I am going to lower my foot, presser foot, and I am really sewing just 1/4 inch away. My presser foot actually is coming off the edge over here. If I put the needle down manually, which I can, it should not be hitting the elastic. I'm going to raise this up just in case I missed my object. I can't see it. Okay. All right. I've just turned the volume up. I had it down really low. I am sorry. Okay, now I'm going to take my first pin out because it's in there parallel. There's no sewing over it with it parallel. And I'm just going to start sewing, trying not to get on the elastic. I am going to, I forgot to tie my knot or back stitch. Okay. Oh, I'm getting to a place here. Do you see how this is up like this? When I sew there, I'm going to have to pull it to get it flat. Pull on that elastic. Now I don't want to put so much pressure in it that I'm pulling it out from underneath the machine. So I sewed a little ways. I had to reach in and push that elastic back into that crease. Notice what I had to do there. I had to grab back here. I'm actually kind of giving a little gentle pull on both sides so that it sews through the fabric straight, but is not sewing through the elastic. So a little gentle pull. Time to take another pin out. Okay. Wish you could see better, but maybe. Hang on. Aha. My last video and I discovered how to do that. Okay. I'm pushing my elastic back up into that crease. It started coming out again, out of that crease. Again, I stretched the elastic just to get it flat in this section again. Miss Hitson needs to take some time and read her manual. I have to turn my machine off and turn it back on. I got into some screen. I didn't know what was happening there. That's the trouble when the sewing machine gets smarter than you are. Okay, I should be good to go again. I kind of work my fabric, keeping this as straight and as flat as I can while I sew. Be patient with this. This might, next to the pocket, this might be the hardest step right here. Whoops. I became a little speed demon there for a minute. Gonna back stitch there a little bit. Cut my thread. Now I probably left 1.5 inches opening right there. So if I decide that I want my elastic round to be shorter and to make it smaller, my waist smaller and fit tighter, then I have room to pull that out right here. So I'm going to say that I do. I caught a little bit of elastic there, so I'm going to have to pull from the other side. We better leave that open more. Okay? Let's leave about 3 inches open there so that you can pull that elastic out and adjust it. So what I would do is, going back to my sample here, is I'd pull it out of the shorts, out of the casing that we made. And I would pull it out a ways, quite a ways. Give yourself 3 or 4 inches out here to work with. Cut this part where you sewed off and make it as tight as you think you need it tighter. If you know you just lost another inch there, so then put it over that amount and sew back and forth across that again and make that tighter. I'm pretty sure mine's going to be, oh, it looks too big too. I'll have to try them on and find out, okay? But once I have adjusted that size of elastic there, and I'm probably going to have to take mine out. Oh, I can take it out right here a little bit more. Maybe that will be enough to, you could use a seam ripper, but I'm pretty good with the scissors. Okay, so I'm gonna take that elastic out there. I'm gonna pull, gather as I pull. I really think mine needs to be shorter too. Just gonna make it shorter now. So I'm working it out here. See how I can pull out as much as I need to work with? Okay, I think I'm going to take another inch out of that. So I'm going to cut it and take out about 1 inch, overlap it about 1 inch, okay. Come back to the machine. This is harder this time. You're going to see kind of how difficult. Again, at this point, don't twist that elastic. Keep it going the same direction it was. Okay, needle down, forwards, backwards, whoops, forwards, backwards. Okay, cut my thread. Gonna trim my elastic down like I did before. going to pull that back in. Notice I have a little more gather in my elastic, and then I am going to sew that shut. Once I'm certain that I have that right. I'm not certain that I have it right, but I want to show you. Just go back here and tie a knot, back stitch, whatever you want to do, and sew that closed. Okay, so that was about a 3-inch opening that I had there. Just do a little back stitch. Okay. Cutting my threads. I don't want to see any threads hanging from your project. You cut as you go and then go back and check twice. Now, according to the directions, you would go and you would press up the hem, the bottom of your shorts, you'd press them up an inch. See how nice my elastic is in there, okay? You'd press it up an inch, and then you would sew around it an inch, a fourth inch from the edge. I'm sorry, 4th inch from the edge. And voila, you're done. You are done with your final project. You're done with your shorts. One last thing I wanted to mention about this project I thought about earlier is, again, we're out of supplies and I can't go to the store for more and be done in time. So all I had left, except some really wild colors that I wouldn't have wanted to use, was a spool of black thread. Well, black wouldn't have looked very good. And a spool of white. I considered using white. But you know what? This shows much less, and this is gray. It's because gray is a neutral color. Gray is most often used in quilting. When you're putting together like this quilt behind me, which way do I need to lean? Do you see all the different colors in that? I'm not going to change threads every time I encounter a new color. And look at there, I'm sewing kind of a purplish red to a blue. How do you do that? You do it with a gray thread. Because these were dark colors, I used a darker gray than this spool. But I always keep a good supply of dark gray, medium gray, and light gray because it is a neutral color and it blends so well. Well, congratulations on finishing your shorts project. You can go try them on, model them for me, have somebody take a picture. I won't share, I promise. Promise, promise, promise. And you have finished your shorts. And I bet they're going to look cuter than mine because they're smaller than mine, but they're going to be great. Okay? Congratulations. I am very proud of you.